Hi, I'm Gerry. Welcome to my studio. I've been promising for some time to prepare a tutorial on how to paint trees, and over the next 2 months I'm going to be very busy in putting together a one-man exhibition in May. I won't have much time to do any studio paintings, so I thought, well, let's make a start on the tutorial. It's quite a complex subject, a very important part of landscape painting, and I can't do that in 10 minutes. So I've decided to split this tutorial into several sessions of 10 minutes, and this one, as an introduction, will show my approach. Now, you don't have to be a botanist to be able to paint trees, but it is important to be able to paint what you see. And I think the first important thing that I can do is to help you to see. Sounds a bit ridiculous, I know, but you have to be able to look and observe and study trees in a particular way to understand how they differ. Because painting one tree in the middle of a field as a portrait is one thing, but mostly trees appear in landscapes in groups, either in copses or woods or forests. They can be close to you, they can be far away in the middle distance, it can be summer, it can be winter, it can be spring. All of these things influence how to paint the trees in front of you. So I'll make a start by going through a few basics, and then in later sessions of this tutorial I will actually prepare paintings for you of particular tree subjects. So let's make a start by looking at the silhouette of trees. At this time I'm not really concerned whether the tree I'm looking at is a sycamore, an oak, an ash or a silver birch. The first thing when I'm looking at the silhouettes is to try and categorize trees under certain forms, the shapes given by their leaves in full summer. Now the first one here is a simple round shaped tree with a single trunk, and we'll call that the round silhouette. The next one I'll call spreading, where the branches of the tree go out almost horizontally from the trunk, and the width compared with the height is very broad. This is typical of the oak tree, but there are others, cypresses and other trees, which spread out very widely from their base. In order to support this broad, heavy canopy, they need a fairly strong central trunk, which doesn't have to necessarily be in the middle. Next we have an oval shape, which is very reminiscent of several different types of evergreen. Very compact shape. And the next one I'm going to call an upright or column type tree. These you find in the poplar trees, just a straight column. And then the next I'm going to call the pole, where you have a long bare trunk with all of the spreading foliage at the top, again reminiscent of fir trees, evergreens. Another evergreen shape is the cone, and with evergreens you very seldom get to see the underlying skeleton of branches, but the form of the tracery of their branches is shown in the form of the foliage or the needles. Another evergreen shape is the pyramid. type of trees you see growing on the tops of mountains, spreading all over the hills in the Rockies and in the Alps. Again, the tracery of the branches is seen in the form of the foliage. Another distinct shape is that of the palm tree. Not often seen in northern climes of Europe, but in the Middle East and the Caribbean they are growing profusely. Most of the trees that I'm concerned with are those that grow in Central Europe, of course. And one of these is the weeping type tree, where the branches and the fronds droop down all the way around like an umbrella canopy, right down to the ground. The weeping willow being the primary example of this form. These are found along the riverbanks and close to water generally. Make a very novel feature in anybody's garden, but they do grow very tall and very wide. And lastly, I'll be looking at what I call the irregular, because not all trees are symmetrical in shape. In fact, very few are. So let's call the last one the irregular shape. So these are the categories that I will put trees in as a start to their study and to your observation of trees. Look at a tree, half close your eyes and see which shape or form you think that it falls under. Is it round? Is it spreading? Is it pyramidal? Is it weeping? Is it irregular? And then try and copy it as a simple shape, so as I'm doing here. So here are those tree silhouettes again as a reminder. I'm sure there are many more, and from your observations you may add to the list. I can best illustrate what I'm talking about by looking at details of some of my paintings over the years. These details include trees observed in winter, spring, summer and autumn. Trees in the foreground, middle distance and background. Note how important the fall of light on the foliage is to give body and form to individual trees, even though they vie for space with their neighbours. Deciduous trees may be green in summer, but there are a multitude of secondary and tertiary greens in the foliage. In springtime, the greens are more acid, and in summer they're more sombre. In autumn, the green fades to amber, and in winter we're only left with the tracery of the branches. If you're painting under the trees, you can't see their overall shape or form, and then it's important to accurately describe the trunks and branches. Although I will demonstrate how to paint an individual tree in a later session, it can be seen from these extracts that it is groups of trees that we must contend with if we are doing landscape painting. Depending on the fall of light, trunks and branches may be clearly seen among the trees, but in misty conditions the trees may just present a textured backdrop, but your brushstrokes must convey the mass of branches and leaves. Next time I'll be concentrating on trees in winter and looking at deciduous trees without their leaves and how we go about painting and understanding the skeleton of a tree and how the trunk and branches and twigs all fit together and why they're the shape they are.